Hello everyone, and welcome to career mode. So, this isn't any old career mode then. This, as you all know by the title, is 2000 horsepower career mode. So after my 2000 horsepower video then, there was a few comments suggesting that I should do this as a career mode, and I've been kind of waiting to do a career mode really. I haven't done one yet on this game, so I thought, you know what? Let's do it. Let's roll with 2000 horsepower career mode. So here we are then. I've modified every single car on the grid to have 2000 horsepower. What I've actually done is doubled all the horsepower. So that should give them about 2000 horsepower in qualifying trim. I've already done all the pre-career stuff. So all the F2 intro races that you have to do. Did quite well at those. And then I did all the practice stuff. I updated my car. For now, I've gone for car updates that just improve the reliability of updates. So no, there won't be any updates for the first couple of races on my car. And I have chose McLaren then as my cars. I thought they were quite a popular team. I quite like McLaren. Got Norris as our teammate. And this is the grid then. So unsurprisingly, at the front of the grid, we got the Mercedes, Red Bulls and the Ferraris. And there I am, actually best of the rest. I managed to just out-qualify Lando Norris by about 0.2 of a second or so. And there is a few cars as well, a little bit down lower, that has got a few. There you go, Sebastian Vettel there with a 10-place penalty. I'm not sure what that was for. Quite early in the season, he's going to be getting a penalty. Kimi Räikkönen as well with a penalty. But there it is. Anyway, so we will be starting 6th on the grid then, and let's have a look how I did that. So these races, I will be doing a one-shot qualifying session. And you see in the bottom right there, 380 kilometers an hour down the straight with 2000 horsepower. We're trying to keep it all clean here and just trying to push hard. I've done a little bit of practice for this race, so I want to be more or less on it, but I will be using standard setup, I should say, as well. So, yep, here we go then. So, pretty good first sector so far, I'd say. Lots of speed, and actually, I will tell you that it's really hard. 2000 horsepower. When I was doing this qualifying, I was almost regretting making this series already because the car's on such a knife edge. You have to be so careful on the power, particularly over these curbs. And it's really tricky. So, I was having to be so careful, but also in this particular session, obviously, I'm pushing so hard. So, here we go then. In P4 at the minute, P5, the AI always gets such a good exit from that corner. That's one thing I found as well. There's a big difference. There's a bigger difference between the player and the AI because, of course, the AI are effectively traction control. They are traction control. They are computers, so they're very good at managing the throttle. And, of course, that would be very beneficial. If you've got 2,000 horsepower under your feet, then I think any driver would take traction control. A little bit of a oversteer there. That's my first real mistake. It's not been a perfect lap by any means, but it's been pretty solid up until that point. A little bit of a mistake, but it didn't really cost me too much. Just getting on with it now, coming through the final couple of turns. At the minute, we're in P7, so we must gain in this final turn on Lando Norris, I'd guess. Oh no, of course, Sebastian Vettel gets his penalty. So P7 is best of the rest, and then we end up starting P6 because of his penalty. But there it is then. That is how we managed to get what is P6 on the grid, 7th in qualifying. And here we go then on the grid for our very first career mode race at 2000 brake horsepower then. I'm excited for this series. I've been looking forward to doing a career mode, but I wanted to do something a little bit different for you guys. I didn't want to do the standard, so I've waited out until I've had some idea like this. And that's our strategy then. We are going to be pitting on lap 7 of 15. So going to almost halfway distance with our soft tyres, and then we're going to pit for a set of the medium tyres. So we're on the grid then. Here we go. Career mode is about to get underway. We've got 5 lights and they're out, and we're away then. Immediately get a really nice jump on Alex Albon next to us there, but he just then immediately gets better power. Again, the traction control just helping the AI there, or the effective traction control, but we're going to hold our position, which I think we'll certainly take considering we had to be so careful on the power there. So still in P6 as it stands at the moment. And we do want to try and have a little overtake on a Red Bull if we can while they're battling up ahead, because of course, we're in a McLaren. We haven't got the performance of the cars ahead. Realistically, our target's going to be best of the rest, but we are very close to them. So if we can get past one, maybe we can defend. And look at this, we're right on the back. Alex Albon, will we have a live inside into the next corner? We do indeed. We break very late, get also down just about before we hit Max Verstappen. I am running simulation damage as well, so I need to be very careful of that wing. And we are looking pretty good at the moment. So up to P5 then in our McLaren. And this is feeling quite realistic, isn't it? This is the sort of pace that McLaren has had recently, being more or less best of the rest, and then maybe making a jump of a position or two off the start. So we have pretty simulated real life pretty well there, and we're actually not losing too much position. I need to be careful of that corner cut there. I have got corner cutting on, but it isn't on stringent. I didn't want to worry too much about every single cut. This is more about career mode. It's all about the races at the end of the day. Oh, lots of oversteer there. Again, it's very similar to our quali lap. We need to be careful. We're not running onto that curve because that's what's causing it. And just being very cautious. And fun enough, this looks normal to me now as I've just recorded this speed looks normal, but I imagine to you guys this looks very fast. We're already doing 300 kilometers an hour, only probably a third of the way down the straight, and we've got Verstappen all over us then. 270 kilometers an hour come the end. He have a look at the inside, but managed to defend that nicely. Well, so far so good then in terms of defending from Verstappen. Look on the mini-map, we have got a little bit of a gap between sorry, not Verstappen, it's Albon. We have got a little bit of a gap between Albon and our teammate Lando Norris, and we're actually keeping quite good pace to the Red Bull ahead. So at the minute we've got quite good pace in this race. We will certainly take that. If we can keep that up for the rest of the race, we'll be very, very happy indeed, particularly if we can hold to position 5. And a little bit of oversteer there. That's just cost us a little bit of time. We have to be so cautious on the power. Really unnerving our car. Trying to get it all slowed down. Now we have still got Alex Albon all over the back of us. He is pretty much... he's actually had a look at the inside there. We have to give him the last minute bit of room, but actually backs out of it. I think he thought I was going to come over on him. So we end up defending. We want to try and defend his position, but I've run hugely wide there. All 4 wheels sliding. Sliding more. I think I might have overheated my rear tyres. Going to very aggressively defend for the inside line. Then we want to try and stay ahead of Alex Albon if we can. Get it all slowed down nice, but running wide. And more oversteer. I think we might have overheated our tyres. Alex Albon is going to go on the outside. And yeah, look at that. We're still sliding. I think we must have overheated our tyres here. We need to be a little bit cautious now. We have let Alex Albon through, but we need to not let the rest of the pack through. Just be very, very cautious. And we'll skip ahead now to lap 3. You can see Lando Norris all over the back of us. We managed to get our tyres more or less in check. You can see we are still sliding though, so we're now just suffering a little bit of wear. That was more of a mistake than anything though in that last turn. We've got 2 cars right behind us here. We need to defend to the inside. We've got our teammate alongside us. We're going to squeeze him out on the curb though. We don't want to be letting him through. So as I said before the race, our target is absolutely best of the rest. But that's where we qualified. We qualified in P6, best of the rest. And that is where we want to finish. So we need some aggressive defending at the moment then from our teammate behind and the Haas that's behind him. There is a bit of a gap then. There's only 3 cars behind us. There's a bit of a gap to the cars behind, which may well help us a little bit. And Lando Norris has got DRS, of course, and just not quite able to get close enough though. But he's going to have the DRS again down this straight. Bit of oversteer again. These rear tyres are not very happy at the moment. Lando Norris is going to be all over the back of us. Let's have watch off board then. You see him absolutely all over us. We kick up a little bit of grass there on the exit, and he's going to go around outside then with his DRS. He is slightly ahead of us, but we just squeeze him out on the exit. A little bit of a lock of the tyre, but we squeeze him out then and managed to keep that position for Lando Norris. That was very, very close stuff. So this is our boxing lap then. We managed to push all the way to lap 7. This is where we skip to, but you can see now, you can see visually just really struggling with the tyres, but luckily the guys behind are as well. We've got Lando Norris behind us, but not all over us like he was before. And then we got a a Racing Point behind, and then see there's a little bit of field spread now. So I think my tyres just went off a little bit before the AI, and now it's all evened out a little bit more. I've had a few laps, I've been very, very cautious with my tyres. And that's an aim we just stay ahead of the guys behind. So, wow, lots and lots of oversteer. You see these tyres are really not happy. I'm actually at this point, because again, just running wide. These tyres have got no grip. They're completely gone. We need to get back to the pit stop, ideally without losing a position to Lando Norris. And at this point, I am crying out for my pit stop. I know it's this lap, but I would just want to get there as soon as possible. See a bit of sliding through there even, and that pushed us right out wide onto the grass even. We managed to get back on track, go to the inside line, but I think, yes, Lando Norris is going to very comfortably get past us, unfortunately, our teammate. But luckily, we have already got first dibs on the pit stop, so we will be going into the pits first. We need to hope that our nice fresh tyres are able to get us a position back on our outlap, because these tyres are completely gone, and his tyres aren't that much better, to be honest with you. All tyres are pretty much gone. Coming to the pits now, then we need to make sure we get nice and slowed down before the pit line, which we managed to do just about. A little bit of a lock, but we get it slowed down nicely. Nobody else actually is pitting. Oh, there's a couple of guys now pitting. But, okay, here we go. We need a nice stop from the McLaren boys onto the medium tyres. Do we get it? We get a little bit delay in release, but, just about get out ahead of the Racing Point car. That was quite important. We got held by those two. That almost certainly would have cost us the definite position to Lando Norris. And here we go then. So this is our outlap. This is the nice, clean outlap. Nobody around us at the moment. All we need to do now is push. Lando Norris overtook us before that pit stop. That is not good enough. We need to get him back. We want to finish best of the rest. Got some DRS as well, because we were close enough to him as we came into the pit lane, so that has certainly helped us. And here we go. Wow, this already feels a little bit better, I have to say. It already looks like it's got more grip. It certainly looks more stable. The rear tyres, I think in particular, were really hurting at the end of that last stint. Of course, having 2,000 horsepower put through them throughout the race is going to cause them to have a little bit of wear then. So come on, pushing it hard. This does already look faster than our in-lap. And don't forget, Lando Norris has done a whole extra lap as well. So his tyres will be even worse than ours was. And pretty good at exit there, up through the gears, going to rich overtake mode. We're using absolutely everything we can just to try and get that position back. It's quite important. I think we have gained even on our best lap for the middle sector. Oh no, we haven't. That is a red sector. So that isn't a gain, but never mind. Lando is now into the pit lane, as I think will be most of the AI ahead of us. Can we do it? This has been a pretty solid outlap, hasn't it? It's been pretty good. It's not been incredible. It's not been any purple sectors or anything, but it's been pretty solid. I think it's probably going to be solid enough, providing he didn't manage to do a miraculous in-lap, because his tyres were pretty worn when we left him. And there's lots of guys in the pits on the mini-map now. Then are we going to better get out ahead of him? Yes, we can see him on the right-hand side there, but we managed to get nicely ahead of him in the end, actually. Pretty decent gap. As it stood, I got a bit excited and ran a little bit deep there. Up to P8 at the moment. Guys ahead will be pitting. I think there'll be a couple of cars that haven't pitted yet, which is why we're down from P6 rather. And engineer just tells us that we're actually 2 positions ahead of our objective. So our objective is actually only position 10. So McLaren have been quite generous on us there, really. But at the moment, running best of the rest. We're actually 3 tenths up on our best lap then. So this is looking pretty good. We've got some grip now. And that's, don't forget, that was from a soft tyre. We're now only on the medium tyre, running very wide there. Just struggling to keep it flat through there. That's what 2,000 horsepower does to you. Running a little bit wide in the exit. So right now, we are pushing because we want to stay ahead of Norris. We don't want to be battling. When we battle, we slow each other down. It lets the rest of the pack catch up. I ideally want to finish McLaren P6 and P7. And we're actually a second up on our best lap then, so far on this lap. And I want to get McLaren 6-7, which is the McLaren best of the rest, which is effectively a 1-2 of the Tier 2 teams, isn't it? So that is where I want to be. So I want to try and stay away from Norris. I don't want us to be battling and slowing each other down. So I am pushing right now. I want to try and maintain the gap. It's not a big gap. I missed what the gap was, actually. I think it was about 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds. It's not any more than that. Yes, it's probably about 1.5 seconds. So really not very much. Those 2 cars do now come into the pits and we'll get a gap. No, we don't, unfortunately. But we are now 2 seconds ahead of him then. And we actually had a virtual safety car. I think it's Pierre Gasly went out the race, and that's caused a virtual safety car, but luckily we've got a nice 2-second buffer to Lando Norris behind, but we need to make sure we aren't losing time. We don't want to do all that hard work over the last few laps and then just lose it in a virtual safety car, so we need to keep as close as we can to that delta in the top right-hand corner of your screens, and fingers crossed we can do it. It is enabling us to recharge our batteries though, go down to lean fuel, so it's really enabling us to save a lot of fuel. We'll be able to be quite aggressive on the engine modes towards the end. There's actually Kimi Raikkonen goes out of the session as well, so there's been a couple of retirements in this race, just about keeping our delta positive, and hopefully we don't lose any time. We are down a little bit on our delta now. This is pressure. I'm not enjoying this. The virtual safety car is now ending, so we need to make sure we are right on the edge of our delta, but not exceeding it. This is marginal, but this is what we need. We need to push it, and there we go. We actually lost 2 tenths to our delta, assuming that the AI can keep perfect delta, which I actually don't know if they can. But worst case scenario, we lost 2 tenths there, so we managed that pretty well overall, and it's enabled us to save a lot of fuel and recharge our batteries nicely. So we are now 1.9 seconds, so we only lost about 1/10 of a second to our teammate, so we'll certainly take that run a little bit wide there though, and just making a bit of a hash of that first corner, to be honest, but we get through it in the end. And here we go then, on to the last lap of the race. We have managed to maintain the gap, 1.9 seconds now in fact, and we've actually even managed to save a bit of fuel. I was being quite conservative with both my fuel and my ERS, just in case I made a mistake and he was all over me and I had to defend. I didn't want to have nothing left in the locker to defend with, so we are now able to push quite hard in this final lap, and we're going to go for our fastest lap of the race and just see what we can do. We were being a little bit conservative up to this point because, again, we didn't want to make any mistakes. That was the important part with the pace we were doing. We were managed to stay 2 seconds ahead, and of course we didn't want our tyres to completely die like they did in the first stint. We wanted to make sure that we were managing it a bit better than that, so we were being quite cautious up till now. So now we are going to push. We lost, I think, about 0.5 tenth or so in the first sector, so we are right on our fastest lap of the race so far. Rich, overtake mode once again, and just 5 thousandths down then, so we need a good final sector of the lap if we're going to challenge our best lap, which I think we are going to be able to. It's very marginal at the moment. Lando Norris is still 2 seconds behind then, so we are going to manage to seal up P6 in the race, and he's going to be P7, so McLaren 1-2 of Tier 2 of Formula 1 then. We'll certainly take that, but right now what we care about is the fastest lap of the race, getting also down just about. Feels so slow that corner when you're running 2,000 brake horsepower, because you're normally going so fast. That corner is so slow, and do manage to get our fast lap of the race. We do indeed. A 1:19.8 then on the very fast lap of the race. My engineer then thanking me for the strong dive. We managed to come home with P6, our teammate in P7. As I said, that makes it a McLaren 1-2 for Tier 2 of it. And we actually managed to beat my teammate's fastest lap by something like 6 tenths of a second, 5 to 6 tenths. So we will certainly take that, and that is a successful first race. And I think the first 3 races are going to be a challenge. I don't think the midfield pack is going to let us dominate the tier 2 standings quite that strongly coming up. So don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already for the upcoming Career Mode Series. I'm quite excited for this one. And that, tell you what, that car is on a knife edge. I mentioned it earlier, but it really, really is. I really actually struggled to get it around the track. So I think once we get to some more acceleration-focused tracks like Bahrain next time out, we will be in for some great racing. But anyway, as I said, don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.